Hey everybody, it's Cobra DVS and Neoflynn back again.
Hey everybody.
I just got to thinking, we kind of start the same show, or the show at the same every time. It's,
Yeah,
it's
I start all my videos with "Hey everybody." It's
hey
like my
everybody.
catchphrase.
Yeah. Uh, okay. Well, um, yep. So this is episode 5 of the second season, if you will call it that. So we are almost as far as we made it the first time around, which was 6. But
Nobody's pregnant, so I think we're good this time.
I hope I'm not. That's the last thing I need. No, no. Um, okay. All right, well, yeah, let's just go ahead and dive right into it. We can read the last week's comments. Not a terribly large amount, but let's go ahead. All right, the first one is by Business17. I really like his name. I remember when the first time I heard it, Business. Yeah, it's pretty funny, like the NES and stuff. He said, "Hey, I just watched a documentary last week that stated that ET for the Atari 2600 was actually programmed in 6 weeks as opposed to 6 months. It seems unbelievable, but the research I'm doing now seems to support it." That's ridiculous.
It still sucks. I don't
6
care.
weeks.
Like
Six,
that's not an excuse for the crapness that is ET.
all right, LV Peppy 38 says, "Great episode." And Mr. B Lands, a.k.a. James, says, "Another good episode, guys, though a few times Nick sounded like he was calling in from the moon."
Yeah, we had some audio issues. I don't know what was going on there.
Just a quick note, Double Dragon 5, the fighting game, was based on the short-lived cartoon series, which was terrible. That's why the art style was so different meaning bad. Also, in the battle of 2D platformers, Yoshi's Island is greater than Donkey Kong Country, though this shows Cobra's love of rare games. Rare meaning the company, not a rare game. Cobra's love of rare games. They developed the Battletoads games as well. Keep them coming. He says Yoshi's Island is greater than Donkey Kong Country,
Which,
and
you know,
I agree. I'll agree with him.
there you go.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, there's you can't go wrong with any of those, really.
right. Yeah, any Nintendo platformer on the Super Nintendo, it's gonna be great. Um, this shows Cobra's love of rare games. They developed Battletoads as well. Yeah, they did. That's Rare makes so much good stuff. Made. Let me correct that. Past
Yeah.
tense, made really good stuff. They're kind of anymore. I don't even know if they do. I think Microsoft owns them, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They developed, God, what was it? Something on Connect, and now it's totally just escaped me.
Oh, I know they did that Perfect Dark, right? The Zero.
Yeah, yeah.
They need to just like bite the bullet, make a new Killer Instinct or
Something.
something. A Battletoads would be badass. Um, something. Oh, cool. Well, I would say for the 3DS, but since Microsoft owns them, that's not going to happen.
That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, but yeah, I do love rare games. I actually I bought well, this isn't going to be in a pickups video, so I might as well just say it anyway. I bought this lot of Nintendo games and from Craigslist and only kept a few of them and sold the rest. And I tested them out to make sure they were all working. There were 22 games in there. I'd say at least 8 of them were made by Rare, and some of them I didn't even know were made by Rare. Like I don't know. I can't think of any examples, but like the RC Pro-Ams, that's Rare.
Yeah, I didn't know that, actually.
Battletoads, of course, which wasn't in the lot, but there's
They
so
had,
much.
they had their hands on a lot of stuff, like, especially back then, like, in the early NES days.
Yeah, I heard they made the original Wizards and Warriors on the NES. I know it's published by Acclaim, but I heard that the Rare actually developed it.
Could be.
Yeah,
I don't know for sure, but...
I think it was Wizards and Warriors, if I'm not mistaken. But all right. Ballin' Nick 1982 says, "Great episode, guys. Even though I play a lot of current gen games, I still consider myself old school, and it makes me sick. These companies nowadays are charging full retail prices, excuse me, for incomplete games. I might download a few PSN or WiiWare titles, but I never touch extra download content for a game I've already purchased. and I agree with Neoflynn. These companies and developers already have this extra content in the works before the game is even released, which is pathetic.
Yeah, it's kind of, we talked about that last week, but
Right. Sort of a...
DLC kind of gives them that excuse to, like, not necessarily put everything that they're working on the disc. So.
Right, yeah. Right, well, that's all the comments. Just for, Intellivision Dude didn't make one.
Uh-oh.
He only watched halfway through, he told me.
he gave up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's it. So we can go ahead and move on to some news stories. Nothing extremely groundbreaking, but some pretty decent stuff this week. Nick, you can go ahead and start if you want.
Oh, okay. My first one was a pretty big announcement. There's been rumors of this for, I don't know, a long, long time. And basically, they've officially announced the Elder Scrolls MMO, which is pretty awesome, I think. I'm a pretty big Elder Scrolls fan, so to have,
Did you get Skyrim?
I did. I haven't played very much of it, but just because I haven't had time to dedicate it to it, and that's one of those games where, like, if you're gonna sit down and play, you better have like a 3-hour block to sit and play, So I got it. I started it, but I didn't. I get like to the second town, and that's it. But it is. Bethesda's not developing it. But ZeniMax Online it is, and they've worked on the. I know they worked on the third one, and I'm not sure if they've worked on any other ones. But Bethesda's still going to publish it, so. It's apparently already been in development for a couple of years, so.
Wow.
Which MMOs, they have a very long development cycle, so it's not surprising.
Does it say how many years? Because, like, it would have been funny. Well, it wouldn't have been funny, but it's kind of like a gamble. Because if Oblivion and Skyrim kind of flopped.
Tanked,
yeah. Yeah, then this MMO was...
let's see. Well, the guy says several years, and then they say it's believed that it started as early as late 2006. So,
wow.
Who knows?
That's quite a while.
They were also working on a Fallout MMO, so it could be, they were, what does it say? Was revealed in court filings in the Fallout MMO case between Bethesda and Interplay that they were working on something else. And it was later reported the game in question was an Elder Scrolls MMO meant to be revealed in 2009. So it's been in the works for a while, but...
So there's no Fallout MMO or what?
Well, that is kind of on hold because they're still in court over who actually has rights to the license. So
I never understood
we talked about that in an earlier episode. But,
did we?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Bethesda and Interplay are still fighting over who has the rights. So I think that one's on hold right now. But
okay.
But yeah, like interestingly enough, Rob Maximum RD posted something about MMOs on his Facebook group today, and about whether other people enjoy them. He doesn't, but
I've never played one.
My comment was like the only two that I've ever really gotten into and played hardcore was Star Wars Galaxy and now Star Wars Old Republic. So I think for me, like, it has to be a world, a universe that I really enjoy. Like, I tried World of Warcraft. I just didn't get into it. I don't care about Warcraft that much. So, like, for me, it has to be a universe that I like already for me to get into an MMO about it. So, yeah, I'll be playing this one, I'm sure.
Yeah, I have never played an MMO. I don't know what it would take for me to play one. It'd probably have to be... If I were to play one right now, it would probably be Star Wars.
Yeah.
Or like if a Halo one. If a Halo one ever came out, it might be that one.
They're a totally different type of game. Like, you really have to... And for me, like, I'm going to out myself as a total nerd here, but I get into, like, the RP elements of them more than anything else. Like, I can sit in RP with people that I've made friends with in the game and not even care about leveling and all that crap, And I think that comes, like, because I used to play tabletop, like, D&D and Star Wars and stuff, so I think that's where it comes from. Like I said, I'm going to out myself as a total nerd, but so, that's the elements of them that I like getting in a huge group and just actually playing as your character, not just running around in this game world, killing stuff, so.
Have you ever seen the episode of South Park with World of Warcraft?
Yes, and that's one of the best episodes.
That is one of the best episodes. It's a
Like
good one.
easily one of the best ever.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's it on that one. Yeah,
All right.
big news of the Elder Scrolls MMO.
All right. Well, I have two here, of course, and I don't know which one to do. Okay, we'll start with the predictable one. All right. Well, much to the dismay of to the dismay and probably not up to the shock of very many people, a new Call of Duty game was announced, and I don't know that the title is surprising. It's Black Ops 2, which plays, of course, as a sequel to 2010's Black Ops. Yeah, I
I
think it was
think,
2010.
yeah, yeah, because Modern Warfare 3 was
Yeah.
2011. So
Yeah, okay, so this is the other developer of the Call of Duty games, Treyarch. They're making this one. They do everything that seems not to be Modern Warfare. So,
right.
and I gotta tell you, I think Black Ops is better than the Modern Warfare series. The first Black Ops, I thought it was better than like Modern Warfare. I don't know. I think it's
I
because they get to make up like their own stuff. Like it's set in a real time, a real war or whatever.
yeah
But it's not so predictable, I guess is what I'm saying. I feel like they have more freedom to do what they want.
yeah
And I don't know, zombies is infinitely better than that survival thing that the Modern Warfare ones have. I think these ones, they sort of like take themselves a little less serious and they're a little more fun.
yeah. I really enjoyed the first Black Ops. Like
I thought it was one of the better Call of Duties
yeah,
actually, yeah.
yeah. I really enjoyed the first one, and James and I played a lot of zombie mode. So
Yeah. Um okay, now so zombies is going to be in this one. I saw that article. I don't think it's in this one, but there will be zombies. Um what else was I going to say? Oh yeah. It's I don't think this is in this article either, but it's set in the future. I know you saw the trailer,
the trailer, yeah,
and it looks interesting, different than the rest.
yeah. It really does. Like from what it looks like in the trailer, like there might be some flying sequences, like either which they had kind of in the first one with the chopper gunner.
Hmm.
But it looks like they're trying to maybe do a little bit different stuff with it, so that's a good sign, I think.
Yeah, I like that it's in the future also because that gives them more freedom to do what they want, which was
Yeah,
um, so that's interesting. I wonder, oh man, it just sort of begs the question if it's gonna be like, if it's gonna be this big thing like, yeah, we're doing something familiar yet different enough to be fresh, or if it's just sort of gonna fall into the, oh, we've already done this. It's just in the future.
yeah. I
I
think they have to do something a little bit different with it because people are gonna eventually get sick of the same canned stuff.
uh
So, and apparently reservations have already like done better than what Modern Warfare 3 had done at the same
oh,
time.
come on, that's ridiculous.
I saw that somewhere. I don't remember where it was, but
Man, I don't know. And another thing, it's released on my damn birthday. So,
we know what you're getting.
okay, if I get that, I'm gonna, well, I usually like just buy my own present or, buy something for myself or whatever. I don't really get a gift per se anymore. But, it's definitely gonna be Halo 4 over this, which is
Right.
a week before, so, a little too late for me on the Black Ops, but we'll see when it comes out, and I'm sure there's going to be more information released and how it's going to be, different and all that. And they're giving away
Right.
like these pre-order bonuses, and it's just sort of it's irritating. The whole thing's just irritating because we've done this for 4 years in a row. This is the
Every year.
fifth. It's I don't
We're
know.
over it.
Um, all right, well, that's it, yeah. So it's coming out. Oh, the date that it's coming out is November 13th. So if you want to send me something for my birthday, that would be the day. Anybody who's listening, not just you, Nick, but anybody.
Right. Yeah.
All right, well, that's it.
All right, my second one. It's kind of interesting. I had no idea about this. Apparently, Motorola Mobility and Microsoft are currently in a little legal battle over some apparent copyright infringement or patent infringement. And in Germany, they've actually banned the sale of Xboxes and Windows 7 phones, apparently.
Hmm.
So, yeah, if you're in Germany, you can't buy an Xbox right now. And also Internet Explorer and Windows Media Player, oddly enough. Like, it's totally banned in Germany. And there's also, right now, a case in U.S. court dealing with the same thing. And it's apparently over some video coding and playback. What it has to do, exactly, I don't know the specifics of it, but apparently there's something in the Xbox that Motorola helped develop and Microsoft isn't giving them, compensation or whatever for. So they're trying to block the import into the U.S. of Xboxes, which of course they're not made in the U.S., so they have to be importing.
Mm.
And yeah, all Motorola is looking for is, compensation for their intellectual property, which makes sense. So hopefully it will get resolved soon, and we won't see, the disappearance of the Xbox. So I just thought it was interesting that, Germany actually went so far as to ban it. So.
Huh. Now, what is Motorola Mobility? Is that like their phone line? What is that?
I don't know exactly. I'm sure it's some, division of Motorola that I guess works on, video coding and stuff, apparently.
Mm.
So I don't know, exactly what it is, but
I wonder if the Xbox was a hot seller in Germany.
I don't know.
I always hear about how it doesn't do that great outside of the United States.
Outside of the U.S., yeah.
Yeah. So.
But we'll see. It'll be interesting to follow to see what exactly happens. But I just thought it was interesting that Germany actually, banned it based on that. So.
Okay, well, all right. The last news story is not really news, more an article that I found on IGN that I thought was pretty interesting. It's like a highlight of Nintendo's E3 announcements for the past, I guess, 17 years, all the way from 16, because it doesn't go to 2012. It just goes to 2011. But I thought it was interesting if you read these off, and some of them are pretty cool. So in 1995, the biggest things. This is funny. The big thing was the Virtual Boy,
The Virtual Boy, heck yeah.
Killer Instinct, Earthbound, and Project Reality, which I have no idea what Project Reality is.
I think that eventually became the 64, but I could be wrong on that.
Oh, well, I guess that would make sense.
I think that was like the code name for the 64.
Okay.
Don't quote me.
Okay. And then in 1996, the big thing was the Nintendo 64, Super Mario 64, and Pilot Wings 64. So that was a pretty good year, I'd say. And potentially even better, in 1997, the big things were Zelda Ocarina of Time, Banjo-Kazooie, and GoldenEye. Speaking of rare, two of those games are rare games, Banjo-Kazooie and GoldenEye. Had their hands full there. 1998 saw Pokemon Red and Blue, the birth of a phenomena, whatever you want to say, They were the first ones, right? Red and Blue?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The Game Boy Camera, which I don't even know what that is, and Conquer 64, which would become Conquer's Bad Fur Day. Okay, in 1999, Project Dolphin, which became the GameCube. I actually know that one.
Yeah.
Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, Perfect Dark, and DK64. Two more rare games in that one, Perfect Dark and DK64. Man, they do so much. Okay, next is Zelda Majora's Mask, which I have yet to play. I haven't played it. Paper Mario was was an announcement that year. That's pretty cool. I never played the original. I've seen some gameplay of it, but never got to play that one. And then Pokemon Gold and Silver were announced. In 2001, GameCube was announced. Super Smash Bros. Melee, which is an excellent game, was announced. And Star Wars Rogue Squadron, which I haven't played, but I've heard is pretty good.
Which is also an excellent game.
Yeah, I might have to get
going back, yeah, Project Reality was the code name for N64.
Oh, okay.
So
That's an odd name. They always pick weird names.
Well, so was Dolphin.
That's true. What was the Wii U was Project Cafe. That's what they
Yeah,
called it,
see.
I'm pretty sure. Okay, 2002, pretty good set of games here. Zelda Wind Waker, Super Mario Sunshine, which is an underrated Mario game, if you ask me, by the way. And then Metroid Prime, which is an excellent first-person shooter. That is like the first first-person shooter that I can even think of Nintendo making. Because I'm pretty sure that was an in-house game, wasn't it?
I
I
believe
would
so.
assume it was anyway.
Yeah, it would have had to have been.
Okay, and at 2003, Pac-Man Versus. I'm not sure quite why that's a highlight. Mario Kart Double Dash, which is excellent, and Pikmin 2, which I've never played a Pikmin game.
It's interesting. Like I played the first one a little
What
bit.
is it?
The first one, you were this little astronaut guy that like crash lands on this planet, and you're trying to collect the pieces of your ship back so you can get off the planet, and you have to like control the little Pikmin to do your bidding, basically.
Hmm.
Like you have to use them to do everything. You can't do anything yourself. So it's interesting. It's kind of like a puzzle game, kind of.
Oh, okay.
So
Um, okay, in 2004, this was a pretty good year. The Nintendo DS, Zelda Twilight Princess, which I have yet to play that as well. I really want to get that one. And then Zelda Minish Cap. Also haven't played that. All right, so 2005 was pretty huge, I guess. They announced the Revolution, which turned out to be the Wii.
yeah.
I remember when it was called the Revolution. I don't know. It's I'm kind of thinking about the name. What's better, Revolution or Wii?
I
Uh,
mean, really, because if you think about, they were trying to revolutionize gaming by making it motion based.
yeah, that would
So
have worked
it kind
definitely.
of makes sense.
Yeah. That's the only thing they have for 2005. And then 2006, it's the Wii Sports, and then Super Mario Galaxy. 2007, it's Wii Fit, which I haven't used and not really, not
I,
really
I
anticipating.
got one and I used it for a little while and then it kind of lost interest. It is interesting. Like if you can dedicate yourself to doing it, like you have to do it often or else it loses its effect. But like it's interesting. The second one that they came out with is a little bit better. It has a little bit more variety to it, but
Hmm. Okay, this next year's interesting. It's Wii Music, which turned out to be like a colossal failure.
failure.
Yeah. Wii Sports Resort, which I don't have, but I'd really like to get. That's the golf. The golf in Wii Sports Resort's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then Mega Man 9. That's pretty cool. It's like the 8-bit. I'm sure you of all people know.
Yeah, I find it interesting that they're counting that as like a Nintendo announcement because that was multi-platform.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know.
2009, they have Super Mario Galaxy 2, Metroid Other M, which received mixed results, or mixed reviews. And I have it. It's going to be in my pickups video. But I haven't played it yet. But what I find interesting about it is that it's actually made by Team Ninja, who makes the
Oh,
Ninja
yeah.
Gaiden games. I did not know that. And the kid at GameStop sort of pointed it out, and I was like, oh, no kidding. So I'll be giving that a shot. And then Scribble Knots for the DS, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And is that related to Psychonauts at all on the Xbox?
No.
Okay. Which is a good game, by the way.
There's also one on Xbox called Awesome Knots that just came out. So
Awesome Knots.
there's a lot of knots out
What the hell
there.
does knots mean?
I don't know.
I don't think it's in the dictionary. It doesn't seem
Yeah,
like a word that means. Okay, all right, 2010, this is a pretty sweet year. Nintendo 3DS, Kid Icarus Uprising, and Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D.
well, they announced Uprising in 2010,
That's what this is saying.
and it just
That's a
barely
pretty early
came out.
release. Yeah, or early,
Announcement, yeah.
yeah. Especially considering a game that was announced at E3 2011 came out before the one that was
Before it,
announced.
yeah.
And that's the Wii U was announced, Luigi's Mansion 2, which I haven't played the first one. Have you?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I messed around with it, but never like dedicated played it.
Okay. And then Mario Kart 7, which is the one that was released before Kid Icarus Uprising. So that's the last 17 years of Nintendo, or 16 years.
They do always seem to make a splash,
Yeah.
They always come up with something
It seems like
So,
every year something pretty cool they announce, or something that it's like, oh damn, I gotta get that. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I could go through every single one of these and pick one. Like, I don't know what it would have been for '95. I can't really say the Virtual Boy would have impressed me, but well,
Killer
probably at
Instinct.
the time it probably would have. Uh, Nintendo 64 next year, whatever. But I thought it was interesting to see like their major releases, and I think it's interesting when you like go back and look at these things, like their past announcements, and you can see like how they did. Like now that we're in the future and it's been out for a while, we can see how it really is, how
Yeah.
it did. Like I always like I think it's interesting. Like the very first year, one of their big things was Earthbound. Well, everybody knows about Earthbound. It's kind of legendary now. It's
Yeah.
interesting to see about that. Well, that's it. Nothing really news. I'm anxious to see what they do this year for the Wii U.
Yeah, it'll probably be a bunch of Wii U
Yeah,
titles, I'm sure.
I'm pretty excited. I know I want a Wii U. I just hope it's affordable, which I think it will be. Nintendo's usually pretty good about that.
Yeah, I think they learned from the 3DS
Oh yeah.
that perhaps, they need to be a little smarter when they release a console.
Yeah. 250, that's a bit much. It's a bit
Yeah.
much. Okay, well, we can go ahead and move on to the gaming spotlight, which, the topic of the show. And this one comes courtesy of Maximum RD, where I was in his Facebook group. While we're on the topic of Facebook, I mean to do this in the beginning of every episode. We have a Facebook page. Nick has made a Facebook page. There's a link in the description.
Go like us.
So do it.
If you listen to the show, just if you have a Facebook, go like us and interact with us there. Because
Yeah.
I'm trying to make it more interactive, but I need other people to join in on the fun. So
Right. So do that. I forgot to mention that in the beginning. I usually put like a little, reminder that it's there, but okay. All right. So anyways, like, Maximum RD. I'm in his Facebook group. Nick and I both are, and he posted sort of a thought post on there about backwards compatibility. He mentions you know what? Let me find his actual post, and
he actually made a tag video about it too.
yeah, that's where I'm gonna go because I remember he put the description is exactly what he put in Facebook. No, it isn't. Okay, I'm pretty sure. Oh, okay. No, this is the wrong video. Oops. Okay, and now it's playing, and I don't want it to be. I gotta go to Maximum RD's channel. Hold on. Son of a bitch. Where is it? Open tag. No. He has so many open tags. Oh my god. It's not even in my browser history. When I hit open tag, there's like 3 other ones that come up. Max,
Here, I got it.
You got it. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I got his post here.
Okay. You want to read it?
Oh wait, that's the wrong one. That's his video link. Hang on. Well, here, I can just open the video. That'll work.
Yeah.
Open Sesame. If my internet will work, that would be awesome. It's Comcastic. All right, here we go.
Comcast.
Just a thought. How many of you care about backwards compatibility? Question mark. The Atari 7800 could play 2600 games. The PS2 could play original PlayStation games. The Wii could play GameCube games. PS3 and Xbox 360 had some BC options. How useful or important do you think the feature is? Do you factor in BC as part of your buying decision? Do you prefer just playing the newer games for the console instead? What say you? And then he actually gives us a shout out in that video. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was nice of him.
We'll give him a shout out here. So
yes,
go check out Rob if you haven't already.
Yeah, do a tag. Do a response to this video. It's an interesting topic. Anyway, so he posted this, and I had mentioned, and he had been thinking about it. I was like, this would make a really cool tag video. He ended up making the video, and so you can check it out there. I'll put a link in the description or a annotation or something, but check that out. And then I asked him if it was okay if we sort of used it as the topic of the show, and he was like, yeah, go ahead, all for it. So we are. So backwards compatibility. In case you don't know what it is, and I'm sure there's somebody out there that doesn't, it's when a console comes out that is able to play the games of the console before it. like how the Game Boy Advance can play Game Boy Color games, and how the GameCube or how the Wii can play GameCube games, and so on and so forth.
Fun.
But there's sort of a bit of a debate out there, actually. Some people, well, I don't want to say a debate, but a mixed opinion on on backwards compatibility. Here are my thoughts. I'm for it. I mean, I'm for it to the point that it doesn't distract anything from the development of the console. Like, as long as it doesn't raise the price, it doesn't, delay it or anything. It's not a huge deal, but if it's something that they can do, I say go for it, because I think it's a good selling point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of torn because the collector in me says who cares because I have all the old consoles, but then on the other hand, I can see where it's something that other people may like. So I'm kind of like, for me personally, I don't care. Like, I don't get rid of my consoles like a lot of people do. So
Mm.
I already have the previous generation console. If I want to play a previous generation console game, I'll go play it on that. It's not, in fact, I don't think I've ever played, I know I've never played an Xbox game on my 360. And I've never played anything other than PS3 games on my PS3. But I have once in a while popped in a PlayStation game in my PS2 just because for a while there I didn't have my PS1 hooked up. So, but like you said, if it doesn't take away from that console, like doesn't add to the price, doesn't take away development or anything like that, yeah, go ahead and throw it on there for the people that care. But me personally, I don't. It's not a big deal to me.
I think one of the biggest advantages of it is just its pure convenience. Like, it's so much easier for me to just, I'll take the Wii for example, because that's the one I use the most for backwards compatibility. There are 4 ports for GameCube controllers and 2 ports for memory units for GameCube memory cards. If I can have those memory cards plugged in all the time, and I have a wireless controller, so I just have the receiver plugged in all the time, and I can just pop the game in and play a GameCube. It's so much easier to do that than have to hook up my GameCube, because I don't have all my systems hooked up at once. That'd be, insane. But I think it's a convenience factor too.
Yeah.
But, like you said, there's no reason, if it didn't have it, it wouldn't be a big deal, because I have the older console.
Yeah. See, like for me, I do have pretty much every console hooked up. So like it's nothing for me to go play a GameCube game. I just have to go to a different room because those are upstairs. But like I have my old school stuff upstairs and then this generation downstairs. But so yeah, like it's I guess I would never consider it a selling point. Like I would never say, oh my gosh, that doesn't have backwards compatibility. I'm never buying it. But
yeah, nothing like that.
I will say the handhelds, there I like it. Like, I love that I can play, Game Boy Advance games on my DS. I do, because then I can just carry that and I don't have to worry about it. Although it doesn't play anything prior to that. I did find that out the hard way.
What's that? Wait, what?
It only, like the DS only plays Advance games. Like
yeah,
you can't
that's
play
right.
a color, even though the Advance could play color games. Like it's kind of, it's kind of weird like that. But so I do like that. Like that does.
Yeah, on portable game, it makes sense.
I think that's a little bit different. But
I think another big benefit is that it just expands the library by so much. Like say the GameCube has 500 games and the Wii has 600 games. Well, now since it has backwards compatibility, you can play 1,100 games on your Wii.
Right.
It doesn't. I don't want to say it expands the Wii's library, but it does make playable. Well, let's say you never had a GameCube and you got a Wii. Now you're open up to 2 different consoles.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. 2 for the price of 1. Now, like you said a minute ago, you have mostly all your consoles. You don't get rid of your consoles.
Yeah.
And I don't either anymore. Well, I can't really say anymore because I haven't really gotten rid of any but one. And I regret it because it kind of screwed me now. I got rid of my original Xbox, which, damn it, I shouldn't have done. Because the Xbox 360 is half-ass backwards compatible.
Yeah, that's an example of like backwards.
Just do it or don't. Don't irritate me.
Yeah.
It's like it's a guessing game. Every time I buy an Xbox game, I don't know whether to do it or not because I don't know whether I'm going to be able to play it.
There's a list somewhere
You know what?
of
There's a list on Wikipedia,
yeah.
and I don't know how correct it is, but I can give you an example of how it, in a way possible, can be completely correct. Because here's what happened. I'm not going to say the game because I don't want to spoil anything. It's a pretty rare game, but I got it, and I went to my friend's house because he was with me when I got it. So we go to his place, and he's got the brand new 360, the Elite,
Mm-hmm.
and put it in there, no problem. Play for a half hour, 45 minutes. Hey, everything's great. I bring it home. It doesn't work on mine. You know, what the hell's the problem? Why isn't it? It doesn't work. It says disc unplayable or something. You know,
Huh.
what's the deal here? So then my brother. Now I have the original Xbox Elite, so it's the normal looking one. It's just black.
Okay.
Okay, he has the very original white one. So I hook his up, and it plays it.
So
Okay,
something with your particular model.
yeah, it could be mine, but I also play original Xbox games like Star Wars Battlefront 2 that runs perfectly on it, um, and some others. So I don't know what the hell the problem is.
Yeah, they really screwed that up.
They
Like,
did. It sucks. Because there are some games like there's that Tron game for the original Xbox, killer app. That's a
mm.
first-person shooter, and I want to play that damn thing because it looks pretty cool, but I can't. I can't play it. And the original Xboxes sort of have that annoying price that's like too much that I don't want to pay it. You know, they're like $40 or something, and it's not really that much, but I just don't want to do it.
I have the one that's mine, and then I've actually managed to buy two at Goodwill, only one of which happened to work. But so I do have a spare. But mine has issues sometimes reading discs, so that's why that's why I bought both of them. And of course,
Yeah.
the first one turned out to not work, and the second one, but they were only $10, so I figured,
Oh shit.
what the hell, you know,
You
if it
can't
doesn't
really.
work, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I guess if I really wanted to, I could go online and then probably learn how to fix the one that doesn't work. But
Yeah.
so I got the spare just because I know mine's gonna eventually stop working completely.
Yeah.
The rare time. For some reason, this is really funny. EA games is what it really has trouble with.
Huh.
Like I can sit and play for an EA game for for a good little bit, and then it'll randomly freeze in the middle of it. So it's just funny. It seems to only happen with EA games. So I don't know if
Yeah, that's interesting.
the curse of EA and Xbox, but
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. So Microsoft screwed up. PlayStation. So I don't have a PlayStation, but from what I understand, the very early ones could play PS2 and PS1. Is that
it
right?
could be. And see, I know, like, I think the PS2 had trouble playing, or no, so PS3 has trouble playing the blue PS2 games. I think it is. Like, there are certain ones that won't work. So even PlayStation has its issues.
Hmm.
Like, it's something with the disc, though, not the hardware. But
I always wondered why some of them were blue and some weren't.
it's like the very early titles were blue. Who knows why? But I'm sure there was a reason. But
I hated how the original ones were black.
on the
PS1
yeah,
games. I don't know why I didn't like it, but I just didn't.
it just looks weird. Like,
It does look weird.
it's not natural.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. And it's the only system I've ever seen that doesn't have standard shiny discs.
Yeah,
Besides the PS2 with the blue, but
the blue.
yeah. Okay. All right. Trying to think of anything else. I think the Atari 7800 is interesting because they skipped over the 5200. You can't play
Yeah.
those, but you can play 2600.
Who really bought a 5200 anyway? Like,
Oh,
okay.
there's no reason to have. There is zero reason besides collectability to have a 5200. Does it have any original titles?
I'm sure it has something, but who knows
I can't
what.
think of one, and that's a problem. So I don't know why you would get one of those. So skipping over it's not too much of a problem, I suppose. But the 7800 is cool that it does play both, and I actually end up using my 7800 for my 2600 games anyway for some reason. Oh, because I have an NES modded controller that'll play on 7800, so it's just easy.
Just easier.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we got a few more things to talk about. So if you're all set with backwards compatibility, we can
Yeah.
move on. Okay. All right. So this game of the week is pretty interesting. I saw you posted it in the Facebook group already,
Yeah,
and
I
it.
spoiled it
Oh, that's all right. That's all right.
for the
There's
five
really
people
not.
that picked
This game spoils itself if you know.
it.
All right. So it's an interesting game that has an interesting story, and it is Contra Force. Now, when I started collecting, I knew what Contra was. And when I found out there was a sequel called Super C, hey, you gotta get that. Well, I was actually watching, and I don't know if you've ever watched him, the Irate Gamer. Have you ever watched him?
I have. I'm not a big fan, but
You know what? Nobody really is a big fan of his, I don't think. But in all honesty, I actually found him before I found the Angry Video Game Nerd. I mean, obviously, James is way better than this guy, but I enjoy him for, he's kind
I
of
mean he's
the
good
same
in small
track.
doses. It just feels like a cheap ripoff of,
Yeah, it's,
which I guess anyone that does kind of that angry-ish, type of review style, just
yeah.
kind of feels like a cheap ripoff, even if they were around first, because everybody thinks of, James as
Mhm.
the original one to kind of do that style. So,
Yeah.
but
Okay,
but
so
I mean, he's okay. He's not terrible. I've never been a huge fan.
yeah, he's no James, that's for sure. But anyway, he had a review of Contra, and then he did another video where he talked about Super C, and then Contra, this other Contra game I'd never heard of. I had no idea what it was. It's Contra Force, and it's like, what the hell is this thing? It doesn't look like Contra. It doesn't play like Contra. It isn't Contra,
It's
as we'll
not.
find out.
Yeah.
Um, and it was when was it released? I want to say 92.
Yeah, it's 92.
Okay,
I,
92.
I happen to have the Wikipedia open.
Oh, do you? Okay. All right. So it actually was released on the NES, and it was released after Contra 3, which I think came out in 91. Just going off date in my memory here, I'm pretty sure that was 91. Contra Force comes out in 92. Doesn't make any sense. That does not make a bit of sense. Unless you know the story about it, which is pretty cool. Interesting. It's one of those interesting things that you never... That's cool to find out, for me anyway. So what it is it was originally a game called Arc Hound, and it was going to be, I think it was going to be a Japanese only release.
Japanese
So
only,
make
yeah.
it a Famicom game, and it was canceled. It was never released. So Konami picks up the game, gets rid of the word Arc Hound, or it's two words, gets rid of that, puts on Contra Force, and it's born. And it has absolutely nothing to do with Contra. I
Other than it's a side-scrolling shooter.
that yeah,
Like, that's the only relation.
I don't think there's a single alien in this game.
No, there's not. You're fighting terrorists.
Oh God. Um, and here's the bottom line: the game's not like horrendous, but it's not nearly as good as any Contra game.
Yeah, if you're expecting Contra and you play this, you're like, what?
Yeah,
Like, what am I doing here? It's just so, like, I don't know. They could have picked a difference here. I don't know. Like, they probably just did that to sell more games.
oh,
Like,
definitely, yeah.
because Contra was, Contra is so good, such a good following, and they're like, oh, if we slap Contra on it, people will buy it. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that was the rationale behind it. But
Right, and excuse me, yeah, and it came out in '92. So let's say you had an NES and you hadn't advanced, and you hadn't advanced the Super NES. So you got Contra and Super C, and you can't play Contra 3 because you don't have that NES, Super NES. But you know how badass it is. And then you hear that there's this new Contra game coming out for the NES, and you just get so pumped. And then this comes out,
and you're like,
and you're gonna be, what the hell is this? You'd be so disappointed. Um, but that's not to take away from it, because in all honesty, it's not that bad of a game.
it's decent. It's ridiculously hard.
Yeah,
But,
yeah,
which I guess that relates it to Contra because
that's true. Yeah, it's really hard.
too.
But and it's just an average game. It's nothing to write home. It's no Contra. I'll say that. But I don't know. It's playable, but it has some interesting things about it. First off, the art design is completely different. It's more I don't really know how to describe it, but it doesn't look at all like Contra.
it like an early version of Metal Slug would be and that's
Yeah,
kind of how it plays
yeah.
too. Like,
I want to play those, by the way. I've
They're
never
awesome.
played this. Yeah, I've heard they're pretty good. Anyway, so and another cool thing about this game is that actually, um, you can pick between four characters, which is something that you can do in Contra Hardcore on the Genesis, but that's the only two games. Well, other than I don't know anything past Contra Hardcore, I don't know anything besides Contra 4. But as far as I know, there's no game that none of the classic ones anyway that you can switch characters. And that's interesting with the Contra Forces. You can actually switch characters in game. Sort of like is it? Can you do that in the original Ninja Turtles? Can you switch it in game, or is it once you die you can switch?
I think it's once you die.
Oh, okay. I'm
But
pretty sure in this game you can switch at any time.
yeah, you can. And it actually took, like, I was sitting there playing it, and I kept dying a lot. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, there's got to be, and I for some reason, I finally paused in the middle, and I came up with that character select screen, and I was like, oh my gosh, you can switch characters. Like, that gives me so many more lives.
Yeah, you don't.
Like,
Yeah, you don't share lives. You can. Yep.
yeah, each
Change it up.
character has 3 lives, and as long as you don't lose all the lives of one character, like, you can switch to the other ones. So essentially, you have 12 lives to get, and I still can't get through the first stage.
Yeah.
Because it's
It's
so
too
cheap.
hard.
Yeah,
It is. It's not. Uh, the thing about like Contra 1 and Super C, they're hard, but they're fun and they're beatable.
they don't
Especially
feel
with the
cheap like this one does. Like,
especially with the Konami code. And I don't know if the Konami code works on this one.
I was playing on emulator, so that may have something, but I couldn't. I was trying to put it in, and it didn't do anything. So I don't know.
Let's Google this bad boy. Contra Force code. Konami code.
But like, it's hard. There's hard, and then there's like just cheap, and this one just feels more cheap than actually being difficult. Like, the way the screen scrolls is what really kept screwing me up. Like, because your character, like, you don't start all the way to the right, but as you progress through the stage, like, it feels like you get farther and farther towards the right of the screen, and like you can see less coming at you. Like, that's just how it felt to me. Maybe that was just me being weird, but like, it just felt like the more I got through the stage, like, the farther right my character became.
Yeah.
To get
I
it,
know what you mean.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. It says on here, by the way, if you do the Konami code, you get 30 lives.
Yeah, it does work. Yeah.
It says while the Contra Force title screen is scrolling down after the NES is powered on, you get 30 lives, which would probably help.
That would help tremendously.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I might actually be able to get past the first stage.
So, but anyway, I thought this was an interesting one to bring up because a lot of people, I'm sure if you're a collector, you've probably heard of it. But it's pretty obscure. It's pretty hard to get a hold of nowadays. It's one of the more uncommon, rare NES games. It's about a $50 range. So
The other really interesting thing is, like, I don't know if you may not even know this, but you can actually set, like, the other characters to help you for
it's
a
like
minute.
computers,
Yeah.
right?
Like, when you go to the character select screen, like, you can tell them, cover my back or something, and they'll pop out for 5 seconds to help you. Which, that may be the first time I can recall, like, an AI-controlled helper,
Did you say 5 seconds?
Yeah. They don't... Yeah, they don't stay out very long, but... Not a whole lot, but...
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing that I couldn't figure out is, like, on your character select screen, it shows their different guns, but I could only ever have them use the one gun. I don't know if you have to pick up the other guns or what. Like, yeah.
I know when I played it, I only picked the standard character. I forgot his name, but it was the normal guy.
Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about the other guns, but...
Did you say they all play the same, or?
No, each gun is a little bit different. Like, so each character plays a little bit differently. I don't know how much it actually affects. Like, you're still shooting, but...
And are there weapon, like, pickups that you can get?
There's briefcases, but I couldn't ever figure out if they were doing anything. Like, as you're going through the environment, there's the stuff that explodes, and every once in a while those will drop a briefcase, but, like, you pick it up, I can't tell if it did anything.
Huh.
I don't know.
Yeah. Right, so the bottom line, it's not a terrible game, and if it were called something else besides Contra Force, it would probably be more well respected.
Yeah.
It's not an well, I don't want to say it's not an abomination because a little bit to the name it is. But it's not a terrible game. But you're really not missing out if you don't have it.
Yeah, if they like, you're right. If they had called it something different,
Yeah, if they
it
called it
probably would have done.
R-Count or something.
Yeah, yeah. If you called it R count and just still done what you did to the game, but just call it something different, it probably would have been all right. Like
Yeah,
then we wouldn't have that, stigma of Contra in our face.
yeah, yeah. You wouldn't have to compare it so much. It'd be like, well, this is kind of like Contra, but it's a little bit different. It's probably not as good, but they probably wouldn't get ragged on as much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's an interesting little title.
yeah, yeah. Download it, play it, buy it, buy the real thing. Do what you got to do. But I wouldn't recommend spending the eBay money for it. I mean, unless you're going solely for the collecting purposes.
Yeah,
I don't know what it goes for now. I think it's like $60.
yeah.
But all right,
Go
well,
emulate it and be done with it.
oh yeah, yeah. Okay, all right. There's a 67.49, a 69.99, and okay, is this guy high or something? $250 or $150 starting bid, and it has the manual.
It's not even complete in box.
No, no, no. And there is a complete one. What's that at? 200, 205.
And this guy wants 250 for his
250.
annual.
Less the box. Wow. What a dumbass. Too bad we're not doing the bizarre eBay auctions.
Bizarre eBay auctions. There
Yeah.
we go.
Okay.
Bring it back. Just for...
The user reviews on eBay also, it gives it a total of four stars out of 5. Some of the reviews, okay, this is weird. The title of the review says, "Good title for the game." I assume that was some sort of sarcastic remark, but after reading the review, I don't think it is. It says, "Awesome game. I didn't even know the existence of this cool game. It's really fun to play for someone that is looking for an old school shooting game. Thank you." Okay, well, what?
I mean, if you're posting your reviews on eBay, you probably don't know what the F you're talking about anyway. So
Most people give it about 4 stars, which is, I don't know. I'd give it 3. 3 out of 5. I think that's
yeah, I'd say that's accurate.
yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we can move on if you so please.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and do what we're playing. You can go ahead and
What we're
start there.
playing. I got kind of an interesting little. Well, first I'll start with the first one first, and then I'll get into my shenanigans after that. But actually, last week after we finished recording, and I said I was going to go play Halo with James, I actually wound up not playing Halo. We actually wound up playing Red Dead Redemption, which I had not played in forever. He had a couple of friends that wanted to play, so we actually got a group of 4 together, and we went and did all the co-op missions that were in I think it's the first DLC that they came out with. Might have been the second one. I don't know. But anyway, and it was like ridiculously fun. Like I forgot how fun that game is to play, especially in a big group like that. Like we started off just running around in free roam mode and just having fun, but then we're like, oh, let's go do these because James and I had tried to do them as 2 players, and they're like impossible with only 2 people. Like you need a full set of 4, and we got stuck on 1 for a little while, but we actually tore through them pretty quick. So, have you ever played Red Dead?
I haven't, but I've heard it's a pretty good game.
Yeah, I mean it's Rockstar, so that tells you.
So quality's there.
Yeah, exactly, and it's open world. It's like GTA in the Old West, basically, is the best way to describe it. And
okay.
as they kind of did with GTA 4, like there's so much extracurricular stuff you can do. Like you can play horseshoes, you can go play poker. There's a game called Liar's Dice that you can play, and there's what's the other one called? I can't remember, but it's you take a knife and you're moving it back and forth between your fingers as they're splayed out on the table. I can't remember what it's called now, but you can go play that. So it's like a timing game in the game, but there's just you can as you're running around the world, like there's random people that will need help and you can go help them. And there was actually one of the funniest things that ever happened when I first started playing. I'm like running down this road on my horse, and like there's this lady screaming like, help, these people are robbing me. So you go to help her, and like these 4 guys jump out of the wagon and start shooting you. Like it was a setup. It was pretty funny. But yeah, it's a really fun game. Like so much extra stuff to do that you never really get bored. So
Did you play the original Red Dead Revolver?
I did not.
I haven't either, so we're
So
on the same page.
I can't comment on that. But
Did you?
now the other thing that I've been spending my time with, which actually just started yesterday, but I got a Connect, oddly enough.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, my birthday's Saturday, so
Oh, okay, all right.
I had kind of mentioned at some point that I wanted one, and so my awesome wife got me one for my birthday and let me
Oh,
have it.
very nice, very nice.
Yeah, she let me have it early because I kind of already knew about it.
Ah, well, you know.
Because she told me, she's like, "Oh, you've only mentioned one thing, so obviously that's what you're getting." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." So, yeah, so it actually came with the Kinect Adventures, of course, and then, but they have a like package deal right now that comes with Fruit Ninja Connect and the Gunstringer, um, which I've played a few minutes of all three of them, not any amount of time dedicated to any of them, but Kinect Adventures, like it's fun, like it's a good kind of show off of the technology. It works fairly well. Um, but the one that and Fruit Ninja Connect, like there's just something oddly satisfying about karate chopping fruit. Like I loved Fruit Ninja on the iPhone or Android.
Yeah.
Like it's just fun, like it's stupid fun, but it for some reason it's fun. And so yeah, so it's kind of a different experience to play it with your hands. But where you're actually like karate chopping across the screen.
Yeah, yeah.
But the one that I've had the most fun with is the Gunstringer, which was made by Twisted Pixel, who are just an awesome development studio. And it's probably, of the three, I think it's the best use of the Kinect. Basically, you're a marionette puppet. Um, and it's really cool the way it starts out. Like it's actually set up like it's a stage play and you're playing through it. And so it's like it comes up and it's like, Twisted Pixel presents the Gunstring, and then it's like starring you, and it has your gamer tag. So it's like starring Neoflynn. I'm like, that's kind of cool. Like it kind of immerses you into it. But so it's like the control. You use your left hand to like move him back and forth as he kind of runs across the screen, and then you use your right hand to shoot. So you point your right hand at the screen and it moves the cursor around, and it'll automatically target things as you move across them. And then to shoot, you kind of lift your hand up towards your shoulder, like you're actually pulling a trigger, if that makes sense. Like if you can visualize that. So as you target them and then you shoot, and so you can shoot six things at once if there's six things on the screen. And you just have to pull your hand up once and it'll shoot all six of them. So it takes a lot of getting used to control your hands independently, like moving back and forth and aim at the same time. Kind of like scratching your head and rubbing your chest at the same time.
It's so hard to do.
Yeah, but once you get kind of the control down, it's ridiculously fun to play, and like it's hilarious. They're so funny.
Huh.
Like your first, basically what the story is you've been shot in the back by your posse and left for dead, and you're coming back to get them all. And like the first guy that you go after is one of those inflatable arm flailing tube men. Like it's like it's describing the story, and it's like the arm flailing tube man often works outside of saloons and like to try that. It's like just so funny, like it's so tongue in cheek. But so if you ever get a Connect, that would be my recommendation of a game.
Gunslinger?
Gunstringer.
Stringer. Oh,
Yeah,
okay. A play on words. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, what sort of games do you plan on getting for that?
I've got the Star Wars one. I haven't played it yet. I kind of heard it was terrible. Parts of it were terrible, but you could still have some fun with it.
That's
So
what I
it was actually a gift to go along with it from my mother-in-law. So I think I'll have some fun with it. Like, other than that, I don't know. Like, I hear the best ones are the dancing ones, but I can't dance to my life. But I might check them out.
Tiger Woods is Connect.
It is, but I've heard that the Connect functionality doesn't work all that well. So I might wait till next year when they get better at it.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
I mean, I only read one review, and it said it works sort of. So, and that would, I have last year's Tiger Woods, so that would be the only reason I would want to buy it.
Does
the new
12 have Connect?
It doesn't, no.
But, I thought it
did. The current one is the first one to do it. So I will probably wait on Tiger Woods until next year because, they have to learn how to use it properly. But
right.
oddly enough, I hear that the Connect Sports Season 2 or whatever is actually pretty good, and it has a golf on it.
Oh,
I played the demo, but it only lets you play one hole,
oh.
and it was decent. I mean, so I'll probably pick that up.
Do you think it's ever anything that could like handle any sort of really deep gameplay, like a first person shooter or an RPG or something?
I mean, I think it could, but it would be really like Gunstringer works well because he kind of he moves forward on a rail, and you just have to move him back and forth. Like you couldn't do anything real deep control wise, just because I don't think you could do a first person shooter on it, just because it would be too hard to control it. Like I don't know how you'd move your character.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the technology works for the most part, depending on the game. Like it works. It senses your movement pretty accurately. But they have to actually develop it properly. Like because
Mm.
there are some that don't work at all. So it just depends on who made the game as to whether or not they take advantage of the technology properly. But I think it's definitely interesting, and I think that there is some, I think it has a future. Like the article that we talked about last week about Skyrim, where uses the voice command
Mm.
rather than the motion. Like I think stuff like that, I think has more of an application to it. But I mean, it definitely works. It's definitely something different to mess around with.
Hmm. I'm looking at a best Connect games, and there's some countdown list. They put Connect Sports as number 1. Gunstringer was 5. Michael Jackson, that's number 9. I
See,
don't know.
I've heard that like Dance Central and Just Dance are fairly decent, and so I might get one of those to mess around with, even though I have no coordination to save my life. Like I can't dance at all, so it'll be interesting.
I
Who
don't.
knows? I may put up video of myself. You never know.
Okay, I'm looking at gameplay of Gunstringer. Yeah, this looks pretty cool, actually.
It like I said, it takes a little getting used to as to how to control him, but once you get into it, it's ridiculously fun, and it's funny, which is always good.
Yeah. I I don't know. I'm worried about the Kinect. I don't think I'll ever get one. Um, I mean, I just don't see myself playing it that much. And if I want something like that, I have the Wii, and I don't really play the Wii for those quirky like the games you're mentioning here. They're kind of like the simpler,
Yeah,
nothing real. I'm interested about the Star Wars. See how that is. I heard you get to play as a Rancor, which would be sweet.
there's one mode that's called Rancor Rampage where you just control Rancor and you just like destroy everything.
That sounds pretty.
Like it'll put you in in most ISO and you just run around and destroy
Oh,
stuff.
nice.
I hear it's kind of hard to control him, but
Oh, that's a shame.
I'll let you know. I'll play Star Wars probably this week, and we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, awesome. All right. Well, I wish mine were more diverse. I mean, I could actually list like 20 games, but I'll list 2. Both retro, nothing really new. Although I did play Halo Reach for the first time in a couple weeks, just a few hours ago. But the first one I actually mentioned earlier. Well, I played Contra Force. I played a little bit of that. But Super C, which is Contra 2, I actually, in that lot of games I mentioned earlier, it was one of the ones that was in there, and I had to test it. And I kind of got to playing it. It was like, damn, this is better than I thought, because I've had it before. I don't have it now, unfortunately, but I have had it in the past, and I sort of pushed it under the rug. It's like, okay, it's Contra. It's not as good as the first one. I don't really need to play it. But I kind of started playing it, and I got hooked. I got hooked on it. It's a really good game. The problem is, it's like imagine Contra, and then like times it by 2, like difficulty. It's a lot harder than the first one. I can't even beat the first level.
Because the first one's not hard enough,
Right, yeah. Actually, no, scratch that. I beat the first level and made it to the second. I haven't beat the second. It switches to a top-down perspective, which is what Contra 3 does, actually, in the second level, I think. But yeah, it's a pretty good game. It's nothing really that different than the first one. And there's no 30 lives code. There's only 10 lives. So to make the game harder, they cut down the code lives, which is a slap in the face. So I played that for a little bit. I can't play it now. I don't have it unless I emulate it. But And the other game I got, and I swear to God, you could like just listen to RattleCast in the What We're Playing segment, and you wouldn't even have to watch a pickups video of mine because I just explained damn near everything. But this next one is a game I've been wanting to play for such a long time, and I finally got it from Nintendo Age. I don't know if you've ever been there, but there's some pretty cool people over there. It's a nice, community, if you will. But I bought Castlevania Bloodlines for the Genesis.
Hmm.
Have you played Castlevania Bloodlines?
I've not been a big Castlevania fan in the past, so I've heard of it, but I've never played it.
Okay. While we're on the topic, you need to play Castlevania Lords of Shadow. That's what
That's
you need to play.
that's the like Xbox. That's the new one, right?
Yeah, that's the Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's an excellent. It's like God of War and Shadow of Colossus and all that. Oh man, I had a lot of fun with that. Um, anyway, Castlevania Bloodlines is the only Castlevania game released on the Genesis, and I've been kind of playing quite a bit of it today, especially. And you know, it it's a good game. It's definitely above par. The only problem is it plays more like the NES ones than it does the Super NES. Like it doesn't control nearly as well as like Castlevania 4. So it kind of feels like a little bit of a backtrack, but it's still really good.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's not a disappointment or anything, but it feels more like an NES game than it does a 16-bit. I mean, it looks great and everything. Um, and one thing that's cool is like Konami reached out to make a game on the Sega Genesis, the Castlevania, so they could be more like violent with it, because then Nintendo's,
Yeah.
you know. So this one's a lot more graphic. Like I know in the first scene or the first like level when you're walking like along, there's like a dead corpse on the ground. There's like these birds eating it, and when you get near, the birds like fly away. So, and then when the zombies die, their like guts spill on the floor. It's just pretty cool. And you play as somebody his name is John Moore. Well, actually, you get to pick between two people, but one of them is John Morris, which is my grandpa's name. So it's kind of weird. And I don't know. Overall, it's a good game. It's good. Not excellent. I don't think it's as good as number Castlevania 4 and the Super NES, but it's definitely a good alternative if all you have is a Genesis. And on a quick side note here, because we're running long, but on a quick side note, there was actually a sequel planned, and I don't know what the name of it was, but it was going to be released on the 32X. But when the 32X bombed, they'd never made it. I got to find out what it is. 32X Castlevania. The Castlevania The Bloodletting. Okay, I don't like that name at all. That's a hard name to say. The Bloodletting.
Bloodletting.
I thought it was going to be a sequel to, I don't know, I thought it was going to be a sequel to Bloodlines, but I don't think it really doesn't mention that in this, but I thought I heard that. I might be wrong. But anyway, it never came out, so.
So
That's
the point is mute, anyway.
Yeah, that's true. So if you had a Genesis, you only get one Castlevania, as opposed to Super Nintendo owners who got two. But yeah. Anyway, that's what I've been playing. It's a good game. Nothing modern. I haven't played Xenoblade or anything like that.
Really?
Yeah, I kind of took a break. Once I pick it up again, it's going to be like, okay, yeah, why'd I put this down? Because it's a good game. But that's it. That's it for what I'm playing, and it looks like that's it for this episode as well.
Yeah, that would cover everything.
So again, Facebook, make sure to like it.
Go like us,
on
please.
Facebook. I'll put a reminder in the beginning of the video, so people hopefully see it. Yeah. Okay. Well, and that's it. So we'll see you next week. It'll be episode 6. Maybe we'll have a guest. Maybe we won't.
We'll see.
Yeah. It's a guessing game every week. It's just whether or Nick or I, whoever wants to talk to somebody, it's whether anybody talks to anybody. I feel like lazy about it, which is weird, but okay, yeah, that's gonna be it for this episode. So yeah, unless Nick has anything else to say.
No, I'm good.
Okay then, yeah. So in about a week, you'll have another episode to listen to, and until then, take care. We'll see you next time.
Take it easy, guys.
so much good stuff. Made, let me correct that. Past
Yeah.
made really good stuff. They're kind of anymore. I don't even know what they do. I think Microsoft owns them, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They developed, God, what was it? Something on Connect, and now it's totally just escaped me.
Oh, I know they did that Perfect Dark, right? The Zero.
Yeah, yeah.
They need to just like bite the bullet, make a new Killer Instinct or
Something.
something. A Battletoads would be badass. Um, something. Oh, cool. Well, I would say for the 3DS, but since Microsoft owns them, that's not going to happen.
That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, but yeah, I do love rare games. I actually I bought well, this isn't going to be in a pickups video, so I might as well just say it anyway. I bought this lot of Nintendo games and from Craigslist and only kept a few of them and sold the rest. And I tested them out to make sure they were all working. There were 22 games in there. I'd say at least 8 of them were made by Rare, and some of them I didn't even know were made by Rare. Like I don't know. I can't think of any examples, but like the RC Pro-Ams, that's Rare.
Yeah, I didn't know that, actually.
Battletoads, of course, which wasn't in the lot, but there's
They
so
had,
much.
they had their hands on a lot of stuff, like especially back then, like in the early NES days.
Yeah, I heard they made the.
For, I don't know, a long, long time. And basically, they've officially announced the Elder Scrolls MMO, which is pretty awesome, I think. I'm a pretty big Elder Scrolls fan, so to have,
Did you
the
get
idea.
Skyrim?
I did. I haven't played very much of it, but just because I haven't had time to dedicate it to it, and that's one of those games where, like, if you're gonna sit down and play, you better have like a 3-hour block to sit and play, So I got it. I started it, but I didn't. I get like to the second town, and that's it. But it is. Bethesda's not developing it, but ZeniMax Online it is, and they've worked on the. I know they worked on the third one, and I'm not sure if they've worked on any other ones, but Bethesda's still going to publish it. So, it's apparently already been in development for a couple of years. So
Wow.
Which MMOs, they have a very long development cycle, so it's not surprising.
Does it say how many years? Because like it would have been funny. Well, it wouldn't have been funny, but it's kind of like a gamble. Because if Oblivion and Skyrim kind of flopped,
Tanked,
yeah, then this MMO was.
Let's see. Well, the guy says several years, and then they say it's believed that it started as early as late 2006. So,
Wow,
who knows?
that's quite a while. Original Wizards and Warriors on the NES. I know it's published by Acclaim, but I heard that Rare actually developed it.
Could be.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but
I think it was Wizards and Warriors, if I'm not mistaken. But all right. Ball and Nick 1982 says, great episode, guys. Even though I play a lot of current gen games, I still consider myself old school, and it makes me sick. These companies nowadays are charging full retail prices, excuse me, for incomplete games. I might download a few PSN or WiiWare titles, but I never touch extra download content for a game I've already purchased. And I agree with Neoflynn. These companies and developers already have this extra content in the works before the game is even released, which is pathetic.
Yeah, it's kind of, we talked about that last week, but
Right. Sort of.
DLC kind of gives them that excuse to, like, not necessarily put everything that they're working on the disc. So.
Right, yeah. Right, well, that's all the comments. Just for, Intellivision Dude didn't make one.
Uh-oh.
He only watched halfway through, he told me.
he gave up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's it. So we can go ahead and move on to some news stories. Nothing extremely groundbreaking, but some pretty decent stuff this week. Nick, you can go ahead and start if you want.
Oh, okay. My first one was a pretty big announcement. There's been rumors of this.
Hey everybody, it's Cobra DVS and Neoflynn back again.
Hey, everybody.
I just got to thinking, we kind of start the same show, or the show at the same every time.
Yeah, I start all my videos with "Hey, everybody." It's
Hey
like my
everybody.
catchphrase.
Yeah. Uh, okay. Well, um, yep. So this is episode 5 of the second season, if you will call it that. So we are almost as far as we made it the first time around, which was 6. But
Nobody's pregnant, so I think we're good this time.
I hope I'm not. That's the last thing I need. No, no. Um, okay. All right, well, yeah, let's just go ahead and dive right into it. We can read the last week's comments. Not a terribly large amount, but let's go ahead. All right, the first one is by Business17. I really like his name. I remember when the first time I heard it, Business. Yeah, it's pretty funny, like the NES and stuff. He said, "Hey, I just watched a documentary last week that stated that ET for the Atari 2600 was actually programmed in 6 weeks as opposed to 6 months. It seems unbelievable, but the research I'm doing now seems to support it." That's ridiculous.
It still sucks. I don't
6
care.
weeks.
Like,
Six,
that's not an excuse for the crapness that is ET.
all right, LV Peppy 38 says, "Great episode." And Mr. B Lands, aka James, says, "Another good episode, guys, though a few times Nick sounded like he was calling in from the moon."
Yeah, we had some audio issues. I don't know what was going on there.
Just a quick note, Double Dragon 5, the fighting game, was based on the short-lived cartoon series, which was terrible. That's why the art style was so different meaning bad. Also, in the battle of 2D platformers, Yoshi's Island is greater than Donkey Kong Country, though this shows Cobra's love of rare games. Rare meaning the company, not a rare game. Cobra's love of rare games. They developed the Battletoads games as well. Keep them coming. Um, he says Yoshi's Island is greater than Donkey Kong Country,
Which,
and
you know.
I agree. I'll agree with him.
There you go.
Um,
I mean, there's you can't go wrong with any of those, really.
right, yeah. Any Nintendo platformer on the Super Nintendo, it's gonna be great. Um, this shows Cobra's love of rare games. They developed Battletoads as well. Yeah, they did. That's Rare makes